defense that's been lacking at the start of games. Sometimes it's been our offense, mostly related to pace. Like we got to get more pace in the game earlier in the game. That helps if you're getting stops too at a high level. We're fouling a lot early in the first quarter. That's kind of slowing us down offensively too. But yeah, traditionally, when we've started well, it's been about pace and it's been about defense.
And when you're battling someone like Luka, are you seeing like effort, energy, or is it more about like trying to take small things away from him?
You mean effort and energy from our guys?
Yes, defensively.
I think our effort and energy is there. That's not good. Yeah, it's like, what are you willing to live with? I mean, that's a choice that we all have to make when you're guarding any kind of great player or a great team. What are you willing to live with? So, that might be different things in different scenarios. So.
Chris and Julius and Rudy all said after game 2 that they wanted to look at the film about what the Lakers did defensively with kind of the zone in front of them. What did you see that maybe was confusing them or just slowing things down?
I mean, it was the same thing we saw in game 1. It was obviously they were a little bit more physical, active, energetic themselves, on point with their execution. It's when Julius and Ant get the ball in particular, they just shrink the paint. And that's we got to make decisions that either are quicker or play away from the crowd or things that we know. And we've seen it before all season. And I think we just over surveyed it, and that really made us slow.
You guys were 3-5 at home in the playoffs last year.
Uh-huh.
Throughout the season, you talked about maybe the home record not being where you wanted it. As you drill down now for preparation for your first home playoff game, what's different about maybe how you're approaching it as opposed to last year, or is it just kind of one of those things?
We just told the guy, with our performances in LA and the results out there, all we've done is earned the right to be able to be great at home, and that's what we got to do. We got to come out with a big start tomorrow, and should be a lot of fun, and get the series back in our advantage.
You get into drill into any of the why? Did you like last off season or whatever drill into the why of why you didn't play that well at Target Center in the playoffs?
No, not nothing analytically or no great study. I think a little bit of complacency may have been the case in the Denver series, and we got up 2-0 and probably took our foot off the gas a little bit. I mean, the Dallas series we led for the bulk of those games at home, just couldn't finish them out. So,
Chris, with Rudy, when they were trying to maybe target him for switches on the perimeter, you guys have had a good success with that. How do you kind of balance them wanting it, but you guys having had success against it? Is it just kind of like we trust what we're doing here and kind of let it play out?
First of all,
that matchup?
Yeah, we trust Rudy. We trust Rudy's ability to defend. We don't want to put him in every situation. It's not, it doesn't play to our strengths when he's away from the rim all that amount of time. They do some things where they kind of force you to make a choice, and in those situations, when Rudy does switch on to him, he's done a pretty good job, I think. So, but they're more situational than anything else. So that's part of the nuance of the game plans around a great player is, you got to be able to make some reads and determinations there that, in the flow of the game.
Is this series a good test of what you're supposed to do for some of the guys? Is can you do it again and again over the course of a series?
100%. I think of course there's going to be adjustments that you have to make, small ones or large ones, but I thought that was evident in game 2. I didn't think our kind of game plan discipline on the offensive end of the floor was as good as it needed to be, and especially in the face of an opponent which we knew was going to be, a little bit more amped up.
It seemed like regardless of personnel, they gave that look a lot in the regular season, and they had some success with it early, and then you guys did have that good game 1. It was just, do you feel like you fell back into maybe some regular season habits that you had against them?
No doubt. I thought we fell back into a lot of poor habits in game 2. Offensive decision making, shot selection, complaining to the refs. All that led to poor transition defense, ball holding. not playing with the pass early enough, not getting off of it in a crowd. And then when we got down, everybody tried to get themselves going. We finished with 14 assists, and we had some decent individual performances from time to time, but there was no connectivity to what we were doing offensively, and that's what we have to establish, and that's what we've been since December. So
It's nice to have two examples then of when you do the right thing, here's what we get. When you don't, here's what we get.
yeah, you'd be a good coach.
How impressive was Terrence on the other night in game 2, and what's his role moving forward?
He's solid. He did a good job. We like the fact that he plays with physicality. Gives us another guy to throw out there. The big bodies. Plays with force. Did a really good job in the minutes that he was in there. Maybe we'll use him more. We felt that coming into this series, he was a guy that we could use, and it was a good first step for him.
You didn't really have a lineup last season in the playoffs where you were switching 1 through 5, just the nature of Carl and Rudy being on the floor at all times.
Yeah.
Does it feel like that's something that's developed into a weapon for you guys with that Reed and Randall lineup to be able to go to that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've been able to do that for largely, parts of the season. Those guys have gotten better at it, and I think understanding what they're doing on the ball has been huge. I don't know how much of a weapon. It does simplify your defensive attack some too.
It seems you've gone to it at the end of quarters and stuff, just 5 seconds left or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fairly standard. I think most people try to switch in those situations if they can, just to keep the ball from going where it wants to.
Chris, just the Wild, and they were talking about how before the series they sit down and say this is the way it's going to be officiated. This
Yeah.
is what to look for. Do they do the same thing in the NBA?
Sure.
Does it change game to game, or how much do you kind of have a feel for what it's going to look like?
I mean, we know that. I mean, if you look around the playoffs right now, I mean, it's super physical. I mean, to me, they've gone way too far on the physicality. I think, I'm not complaining about the way our series in particular has been reffed. I'm just saying in general, I would think that it's gone too far. Like, it feels like it's physicality without purpose. It's disrupted the flow. Look, if there's not a fight in that Houston Golden State series, I'd be surprised. I mean, that thing just feels like it's on the edge every single time. You play 82 games in a certain way, and then they flip the switch, and I do worry about the ability to be able to control that. That's what they want, and that's what we're getting right now.
Chris, it seems like you have a team built for physicality,
Yeah.
but it can
Sure.
go a little too far.
Yeah, I
think,
mean,
or
all these things bother you if you let them.
Yeah.
My problem with right now is it just feels out of context. It feels like it's not the right type of physicality that we're trying to kind of integrate into our game. But, we'll just have to kind of keep working through it.
Rudy's at single-digit shot attempts combined through the first 2 games. Is that a product of just how they're playing the paint, and is maybe an emphasis to get?
Yeah, I mean, we got to find him a bit more. He is open a bit more than we are finding him right now. So that's on us. So.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.